So in this video, you don't do anything, but it's important that you know how to navigate Illustrator, because if you don't, you're going to struggle. So the workspace is made up of sections that are very similar to Photoshop. So you'll see you have your menu here at the top where you can go to File, Open, New, all of that. You have your edits, things that you do in objects with Illustrator, your type, when you're selecting things, different effects, the way it's viewed on your computer. So you can see I can go to Outline or GPU Preview. I'll explain what that is later. In this case, this happens a lot. Notice how it's kind of, when I opened up my document, it's kind of small. So typically what I like to do is just go to View, Fit Artboard in Window, or I can hit Control plus, or Control 0. So if I hit Control 0, it kind of fits this here, so I can see things a little bit closer. I can hit Control minus to zoom out. Spacebar will help me kind of pan around. Okay, so that's pretty much what we have here at the top. Then you have your toolbar, which looks very similar to Photoshop's, and you see some very similar tools to Photoshop. But you also have other tools that aren't here. So like, let's say you're looking for the add anchor point tool. You can click and drag them and add them, say, to this one. You'll see there's all kinds of tools, and we'll get to those later. On the right, you have your panels. So typically one of the most important ones is properties and layers, and then sometimes we'll use libraries. Okay, you'll see this has a lot of layers. Properties changes on whatever you have selected. So if I say select this image, you'll see that'll change. If I say select up here, I can change the fill over here on the properties panel, and you'll see it changes that. Okay. So Illustrator is mainly used for vector graphics. So I'm going to show you what the difference is between Photoshop and Illustrator. In Illustrator, you can use both, and we do have both vector and raster graphics here. So for example, if I were to grab this image here, this came from Photoshop because you can use them both at the same time and drag things together over, and you can kind of cross-use them. If I were to blow this image up, notice how it is super pixelated all of a sudden. Okay, it is raster based. It is based on a group of pixels. They do not scale infinitely. So I'm going to step back. Whereas if I say grab this little boot here and blow this up, notice how its edges are very clean. It does not pixelate because it is made up of vector graphics. It is not based on a pixel. It is based on paths and mathematical formulas, okay, that upscale. And a lot of times text is the same way. If I were to blow this text up, it is not pixelating, okay? It has very clean edges because it's all vector based, okay? These images are not. These are all made of pixels, and you'll see when I scale them up, you can see those pixels, okay? So that's the big difference between vector and raster. And let's say you're messing around with some of your panels. Say you move your properties panel over here. Let's say you want to open up new panels and windows. So if you go to Window, let's say we want to open up a line. So here I have another panel. You can kind of tuck them in, and you'll see I can pull them apart. But if you get a little crazy, you can always reset this, okay? You can close them up. You can tuck them in like this, kind of organize them. But if you really mess things up, let's say you move this and you accidentally delete your toolbar, you go to Window, Workspace, Reset Essentials, but make sure Essentials is checked. And it will kind of tuck everything back to what its default is. That is very important to know. So from here, go ahead and close out this video and then move on to your first assignment, which is focusing on selections, and have fun.